Hi, how you guys doing? Hey, I just thought I would record a really short video to share some of the work that I was doing with data mining Team Foundation Server data, or data mining your software development data. So what I did to start is just create myself a new SQL Server 2005 analysis services project. These projects or these project types are part of the business intelligence projects that get installed when you have SQL Server 2005 and Visual Studio. So let's do some quick data mining for this video. These projects are really easy to work with. When they come up, what we'll do is we'll create ourselves a data source. So all we're doing here is just connecting to the Team Foundation Server warehouse. I've already got one, but let me just delete that so I can show you what it looks like to create one from scratch. What we'll do is specify our server name, and we'll go find the TFS warehouse database. That's one of the databases that gets created when you install Team Foundation Server. Just like the name suggests, it's the warehouse for the data that you store. I always use the service account for these types of projects. Just makes authentication a lot easier. Next, we'll create our data source view. So that's the part of the warehouse we want to look at for whatever we're doing. In this particular case, we're going to be working with some work items. So I'll pull those fact tables in. I'm going to do a blog later on about what each of these fact tables represent. The ones that we're interested in for now are current work items. So in this table, there is a row for every work item that we've ever worked on. We'll look at person. So there's a row for every user in our system. Today, there is a row for every date where there's significant data. And work item history, there's a row for every change we've ever made to every work item inside Team Foundation Server. So with that set up, we can go right to our mining. So there's a couple other things that I can do in terms of creating cubes and whatnot. We'll look at that a little bit later. But what we can do now is literally do our data mining. So SQL Server 2005 gives you a number of data mining techniques or algorithms to work with. There's a number of really interesting ones. I don't know a whole lot about this, but I know the association rules. That's what allows you to implement what people call market basket analysis. So this is something that's really common in the retail industry or the grocery industry. What they do is they data mine purchase history to see, okay, well, hey, for the folks who bought eggs, what else did they buy? Did they buy Tabasco sauce, or bread, or bacon? And they use that to plan promotions and whatnot. So the association rules is the algorithm to find that type of information. Clustering creates buckets for your data that aren't obvious. So that's kind of the whole idea behind the data mining is just to find information or patterns that you can't normally find through just casual observation. We'll use one called naive Bayes. Naive Bayes is pretty fast. It's a good algorithm for if you're just starting out data mining. So just to see where maybe some patterns are. You can take a lot of defaults. So what we'll do is we'll take our current work item as the case table. And what we want to do on this page is determine what we're going to predict and what the input is. So in this case, what I want to predict is the scheduled finish date of my work item. So to answer the question, why do my work items take so long to finish? So that's my prediction, or that's what I want to predict. I'll use this little wizard to suggest what input I should specify. So this is what it thinks I should use as input. So we'll use that as is. Next, I'll run this page and do a detect, and that detects the content type of my columns. So whether they're continuous or discrete. So discrete is like an ID, and continuous is an actual value. So most of these are IDs. And that's about it. That creates our mining structure. So I've just got to process this to actually do the real data mining. So I'm going to build my project, deploy it, then I'll have an option, or I'll have the ability to actually run my algorithm. So when I run it, now we're running this naive Bayes algorithm, and it's going to figure out my data based on the input that I provided. And I'm just using some sample data that we created actually to visualize our reports. Now this is when things get interesting. If I look at the mining model viewer, I can look at the dependency network. This is a really neat visualization. Let me just go in a little bit. And what we're trying to predict is our scheduled finish date. So why do work items take so long? Now everything I see in this orange, these are the nodes that predict my finish date. So some of these are obvious. So create date is an obvious one. So whenever I when I start my work item is going to affect when it finishes. That's pretty obvious. Take a step back, and what we'll do is let's work our way down. So we'll kind of filter out some of the weaker associations. So you'll see some of these start to fall away. So whom the work item is assigned to, the date, the common, close date. These are things start to fall away as I work my way through. What's interesting though, as I work my way down, I can see my create date falls out of scope. So the association that I have left, these are all stronger than when the work item was created. And if I can see a really strong association here between, there's some basic ones. There's still another start date, completed work, activated date. That's going to make sense. But what's really interesting is that my changed by, there's still a really strong relationship there. So whoever changes the work item, it has a really strong effect on the finish date. So one thing that we can do with this visualization is let's have a look at who is doing the changing. So if I look at the characteristics of all of these nodes, we'll look at, we're working with our scheduled finish date. So the oldest one that we have here is May 11th. So let's have a look at that, greater than or equal to May 11th. If I look at my changed by, this is a discrete value, so 18 and 19, 18 to 19. Those are the values that occur when my finish date is greater than or equal to May 11th. So my longest running work items. Now, if we explore that data a little bit, and I'm sure there's a way to link these together, I just haven't been able to find it. If I explore my person table, if I look at IDs 18 to 19, I can see that based on my sample names, that these are program managers. It's kind of an interesting observation or a confirmation of a hunch that when, if your program managers, and they certainly are here at Microsoft, are responsible for your requirements and your specifications, so, the vision of the product. When that changes, that has a strong association as to when the work items associated with that finish. So when you make changes to the requirements, it's going to delay, the finish time of your work items. Based on that sort of thing, that we do things like feature freeze and visual freezes to try and lock in that change so developers and testers can catch up. Anyway, just wanted to record a quick video to show some of those. One interesting way of doing some data mining behind your software development data. We'll apply a few more of those algorithms in the next little while. But my first stab at a video, so please let me know if you like them. Send me an email or send me a comment on my blog. All right.